And what is Peasemore?
Peasemore is an NSA stroke United States Air Force secure installation. It's a subsurface base at Peasemore. On all official documents, Peasemore is the name they use. It's the closest village. I mean, the very edge of the base would be directly under, within 2 miles of the village of Peasemore.
So where did the NSA originally set the place up?
They used, previous to Peasemore, they used another base, which unfortunately I'm not at liberty to say where that base is at the moment. The people who are assisted, who want to see this information got out, are a section of British intelligence. They are the Defence Intelligence section. But it's got to a stage when they realise that the NSA are literally going to take over the intelligence network, not only in this country, but virtually, in the end, the whole world. They
So
don't
who runs the
that.
NSA? Is it the Reptilians or what?
No one knows. They're this faceless bunch of characters who are above the NSA. No one knows who they are. But certainly the NSA have got more than enough clout, so everyone...
So the British defence people are getting a bit peeved off that...
They're getting worried. I mean, the programme diverted some years ago to a very sinister side when they were using spare parts from humans. They were abducting people. A lot of these people never saw the light of day again. They were used as spare parts.
That's like the film Coma?
Very like the film Coma. In fact, that sort of regional hospital policy where they get taken to a certain operating theatre, and that's the termination room. Well, think of that laterally, and that is what happens at Harwell and Peasemore. Various individuals are abducted, taken there, they never come out again. They're used as nice, healthy specimens.
Again, are they genetically selected for any particular reason, or are we just dealing with a relatively random catch?
In the beginning, it was just, a random thing. I mean, anyone would do. I mean, obviously, we can get a number of good spare parts from this person, all well and good. But then they started to get very fussy. The only grey, now, if we use the term grey as an alien being, was those that actually were around the base at the time.
Right.
At the
so
base,
how many are you talking about greys at Peasemore then?
I've only seen 2 greys at Peasemore.
Right.
The
And
rest,
what do they look like?
Well, the typical picture everyone gives. Very small, very frail, large heads, very dark, wraparound eyes.
And were they escorted by military personnel?
Escorted by military and NSA personnel.
And were there any reptilians in there as
On
well?
one occasion I did see, yes, what I would call reptilian.
So how different are they to the greys?
Totally different. These are much bigger, much stronger. They gave an aura of, strength and power, as if you don't mix with these.
So these
characters.
as big as a man or bigger? Or?
Certainly bigger than, a good 6 inches taller than me, so well over 6 foot, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was more like a case of they could just walk around there as if they owned the place. That was just the assumption.
So they were not escorted? The Reptilians were not escorted?
The Reptilians, although obviously everyone in the base is, let's use the word loosely, escorted, but I think it was more a case of the Reptilians were escorting the NSA personnel around the base.
You mentioned something about a trip seat in the voice
Yeah,
documents.
there is an area of the base called the labs and the electronic areas. Situated in the labs are devices which are called trip seats. Now these are very large chairs connected to very advanced computer systems, and a guinea pig is strapped to this chair. You are interfacing directly with the computers. During this interfacing, the individual is then programmed by the personnel at the base to literally do whatever they want you to do. It's advanced psychotronics.
So how does this programming take place and what does it involve?
Again, depending on what tasks they want that individual to perform at some stage. I mean, if you've seen the film Telephone, a 1977 film, sleeper agents, for want of a better term, were activated by a simple single telephone call. They were given a phrase over the telephone. Immediately, the
For assassination or?
I suppose they could be used for that, although I don't really see why there'd be such a need. On the trip seat, as I say, you're interfacing with the computers. You've got a very big wraparound screen in front of you. This is holographic. There are also a special helmet and visor placed on your head. So literally all images, subliminal images that come through. They use the EBL,
What's that?
electronic brain link.
And what does that involve?
Well, that involves the images directly being converted from the computers into images acceptable by the brain. They're implanted, they're held there until activated at a later time by.
So is this a direct electrical connection to your mind, or induced?
You are connected directly to the sea, which, as I say, comes through the computer. So yeah, you're interfacing. Literally, it's man and machine as one.
So is there any psychic use for this, or?
They use mostly psychics there. They enhance anyone with any level of psychic ability. If they can make use of that, I mean, the military use people for remote viewing targets in military installations in other countries. So anyone with any trace of psychic ability in them, yeah, they'll enhance that considerably. PK, remote viewing, and a number of other bits and pieces.
So are they able to see what you're seeing in your head, or is it just a one-way thing into you?
They can't actually see, not visually see what you're seeing. They just know what they're pumping through to you, so they virtually know what's happening anyway.
So how do they know that you?
Well, they give simple tasks first, like say 2 days after being in the trip seat. Then they'll set you a task, and if you can perform that task 100%, they know it's worked, and then they can actually program more sophisticated tasks for you at a later date. Well, during 1988, I underwent a truck stop event. This is where the Defence Intelligence people came into the scene, 1988. Because they've got access to exactly the same techniques used by the program at Peasemore, they brought me out of the post-hypnotic blocks.
So they reversed the process?
They reversed the process virtually, gave back a lot of the information. There's still a lot blocked, but they decided that, yeah, they'll reverse as much as suited them for information to be released. So, yeah, I got a lot of conscious recall after they reversed the situation, and they've sort of filled in so many gaps since.
Such as what?
Well, physically going back to the base.
Which entrance did you use to get into the base?
Bravo, mainly. That's Green and Common.
Green and Common. Which, we were there recently. Now that's through one of the large hangars?
Yeah.
Or the underground bunkers, rather?
Yeah.
So, what other things did they do to, and how was that involved? Did they do that in the truck when you had the truck, or did they take you somewhere else? And
well, the truck stop event, I mean, I was, because I was still under the control of the electronic brain link, so, and DI8 having access to exactly the same.
So how did that work? How are you under the control of the brain link?
Well, that's where that.
The implant?
The implant. They needed someone. As I say, I think they saw it as to suit their purposes. They needed someone to start getting some information. It was a case of information was then given to me, which included a load of photographs, maps, codes. I was to hide that documentation and retrieve it at a later time.
So that's maps and codes and photographs?
Maps, codes, photographs of the base.